creative friends, this is Joy coming to you with another art journal page. So this particular journal already has paint on it from another project, and I decided to use it for a mixed media art journal page. So I'm just tearing up these scrap pieces of paper that again was left over from another project to add to this page, and then I'm going to add these to the page using white gesso. This is a technique that I like to use sometimes when I want to do a mixed media art journal page, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting of a background. So usually what I will do is take the gesso and put it on the page, um, and then stick down these pieces and then go over everything. But I decided this time it'd be quicker and easier just to use a glue stick to put these pieces down first and then cover the whole page with the gesso. So that's what I'm doing here, is just quickly with a glue stick putting down these pieces of paper that I tore up to put on this page. And I'm trying to somewhat put them in a random pattern, like that one. It was too close to the other one that was just like it, so I turned it and trying to alternate these pieces so that they're not like right next to each other. And after putting the pieces down I ripped up, it looks like that I needed one or two more pieces to fill in, so I just grabbed my scraps and put a couple more pieces down. And there again it was too close to the other patterns, pattern paper or book page paper, so I just kind of put it in a different position. And I'm using gesso, but I'm using a very wet brush, so it's watered down, because I still want to be able to see the pages, the colors and textures underneath this art journal page. And when it dries, you could see that, you could still see what's underneath. And so I decided I was going to put a picture of a lion on this page. If you've been following me for any time here lately, I've been doing a lot of art journal pages with animals. And I thought, yeah, it'd be fun to do one, with some mixed media, putting some papers down like this. So I just do a real quick sketch just to kind of get the basic shape. And then I'm trying to add the colors on here lightly so that you could still see what's underneath. But honestly, by the time I was done with it, even though I was trying to use a basically kind of dry brush, it's almost impossible to really see any of the book pages and stuff that I put on underneath. So it almost all completely disappears, which was kind of disappointing. It probably would have worked out better for me, and I may try this next time to use clear gesso instead of white gesso, because again, by the time I added the paint on this page for this lion, then it was, you could hardly see the pages that I glued underneath. But in any case, here I'm just actually grab a fairly large brush. I'm not trying to be too particular. I'm just trying to get some color down in areas where I see on the photo that it has, like the tans and the browns and the whites and, the shadows and all that. So I'm basically just trying to get some coloring down on the face of this lion. And he looks like he's sitting there with his eyes, closed or mostly closed, and the wind is blowing his mane. So, I mean, it's an interesting picture, and so I tried to kind of capture that in my little painting here of the lion with his mane getting blown to one side. So again, I'm using some of those same colors, the browns. It's actually like a reddish brown. It's just acrylic craft paint. I didn't get anything too fancy. I'm using a little bit of a apricot color and a chocolate brown color, and then a little bit of white to either, to add some highlight or lighter areas. And I'm mixing the colors as, I kind of see them in the picture as closely as possible. I mean, they don't have to be exact. So I'm just going around the mane and trying to get his mane in here on this lion and get some coloring down. And again, in the picture, like I said, his mane's kind of blowing in the wind. So I'm trying to kind of capture that. But this page, it turns out, I mean, interesting. I like it when it's done. It's kind of a bit of a more of an impressionistic kind of painting, more so than like some of the others that I've been doing here lately. But it's certainly interesting, and I like it. Very quick, simple. Like I said, impressionistic kind of painting. So then here I grabs the dark brown or the chocolate brown that I'm using and some black, and just with a smaller brush, putting in some details, putting in his eyes, some shadowing with a very dry brush, and just, trying to bring his face out more on this page, and shadow it wherever it looks like in the picture that, there's shadowing. Get his little nose in there. And then it's like by the time I got done painting this guy, I was like, I should have done the background first, because you'll see there at the end that I go back and try to add coloring to the background. So here I'm adding some highlights to the nose, and before that some, I don't know what they call where the whiskers go, but the kind of dark pores or whatever. And then a highlight just above the nose. It looked like there was one there, and some white just underneath the eyes. And here I'm adding a little bit more in his mane, some highlights in his mane. And I do add some whiskers on him with very watered down white. So you'll see that here in a minute. And kind of going around his face again. And I think I'm trying to find, yes, a small enough brush to do the little whiskers. And it looks like, I kind of, which I did kind of do them kind of heavy, but once it dried, it wasn't as bright and as heavy as it looks there. And then here's where I'm like, I should have done coloring in the background. So I just kind of grabbed my watercolors and just went around the whole thing with that. So that's pretty much our journal page for today. If you like this video, you can hit the like button, or you can subscribe to my channel to see more, or you can leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I really enjoy doing these art journal pages and sharing them with everybody. And I like seeing what everybody else is doing. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching my video, and we will talk to you guys again later. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.